Following the Cleaver family's endearing antics in a picturesque 1950s suburb, Leave It to Beaver won viewers' hearts over 6 seasons. But beneath the innocent exterior was a startling incident that sparked debate and irrevocably altered the trajectory of television history. What could have gone wrong on a show renowned for its family-friendly ideals? A scene in the series' last moments created such a stir that it accelerated the show's decommissioning. How did this moment affect the adored Cleaver family? And what was so inflammatory about it? Keep checking back as we delve into the accurate tale of the surprising turn and Leave It to Beaver's enduring legacy. The controversial scene that ended it all. Leave It to Beaver caused controversy with a plot that shocked its viewers despite its innocent image. The scene concerned Beaver discovering something deemed unsuitable for the conservative 1950s. Although the makers handled it delicately, many parents felt that it went too far, and they complained to TV networks about it. Advertisers became cautious about linking with content that sparked outrage, and critics argued over whether the show was changing its tone. The controversy signaled a sea change for the program, and its creators debated whether to follow their formula or experiment. Even though it was minor by today's standards, the controversy helped bring the show to a close by highlighting the cultural conflict of the time. For fans, it served as a poignant reminder of how easily cultural influences could change their favorite forms of entertainment. The perfect TV family. Its flawless casting makes Leave It to Beaver so endearing. Hugh Beaumont's portrayal of Ward Cleaver was wise and kind, balancing sternness and friendliness. June Cleaver, played by Barbara Billingsley, established the benchmark for television mothers with her poised demeanor and sincere concern for her fictional kids. Following a casting call, Jerry Mathers was selected as Beaver after filmmakers were impressed by his candidness about preferring Cub Scouts to acting. Athlete-turned-actor Tony Dow encapsulated Wally's boy-next-door charm. The performers' chemistry produced a smooth family dynamic that made the Cleavers seem like visitable neighbors. Off-screen, the cast members developed enduring friendships, demonstrating their sincere friendliness. Week after week, this genuine connection drew viewers into their world, which became the show's emotional center. TV's most memorable troublemaker. Eddie Haskell became one of the most recognizable characters on television thanks to Ken Osmond's performance. Viewers were fascinated by Eddie's dual personality, which was sugary sweet to adults and cleverly naughty with peers. Osmond was a soft-spoken, modest man behind the scenes, much removed from Eddie's cunning exterior. Eddie's character struck a chord despite his antics because he embodied a typical teenage archetype, the friend who consistently pushes limits. Eddie became the quintessential love-to-hate figure thanks to his excessive politeness, which inspired innumerable imitations in popular culture. Osmond endured typecasting after the show ended and decided to pursue a career in law enforcement, where his sharp wit was a great asset. In his later thoughts, he expressed delight in Eddie's ongoing appeal and demonstrated how a playful cameo could profoundly affect generations of viewers. The show's surprising popularity in syndication. Despite having a mediocre original run, Leave It to Beaver became a cultural sensation when it was in syndication. Younger viewers were introduced to the Cleaver family through the reruns, and many took solace in the show's sentimental depiction of bygone eras. For decades, the show was a mainstay of weekend programming, enjoyed by families all over America. Cast reunions and spin-offs, such as the 1980s follow-up Still the Beaver, which examined the Cleaver family as adults, were made possible by the show's ongoing appeal. Audiences of all ages found resonance in the show's universal themes of honesty, familial ties, and youthful adventures. Its timeless appeal is demonstrated by streaming services still introducing Leave It to Beaver to new generations. Syndication created a second act for the ensemble, reinvigorating their famous roles and solidifying the show's legacy. Jerry Mathers' real life. Beaver Cleaver's charming character, Jerry Mathers, had an equally fascinating off-screen life. Because of his strong morals and a loving family, Mathers was able to dodge the perks of being a child celebrity. He left Hollywood to concentrate on his studies once the series ended, even joining the Air Force Reserve during the Vietnam War. Mathers later pursued a variety of professions, such as real estate and banking, demonstrating his adaptability outside of acting. After receiving a diabetes diagnosis as an adult, he used his platform to educate others and developed a strong commitment to awareness and prevention. Mathers' resiliency and grounded background were seen in his ability to move between fame and daily life quickly. His relatability, which had held him in audiences' hearts long after his last show, is something that fans frequently comment on. TV's ideal father. Hugh Beaumont's nuanced portrayal of Ward Cleaver has kept him a classic TV father. Ward had a multifaceted presence uncommon in his era because of his ability to combine empathy with discipline. Beaumont's life experiences, such as his work as a pastor, gave his persona a genuine moral dimension. Off-camera, Beaumont was a loving family guy who persevered in his morals while facing difficulties, such as a personal bereavement. Viewers navigating post-war family life found great resonance in his on- and off-screen fatherhood. Ward's unfailing support and calm advice became a reassuring presence in homes nationwide. Fans continue to revere Beaumont's portrayal of a father figure in entertainment decades later, solidifying his status as a pillar of support and nurturing. Barbara Billingsley's secret to June Cleaver's charm. June Cleaver, played by Barbara Billingsley, exuded grace and elegance, yet her well-groomed appearance belied fascinating backstories. Not only were her distinctive pearls a mainstay of her clothing, but they also served as a cunning disguise for a surgically created hollow in her neck. Off-screen, Billingsley's reality was very different from the Cleaver's romanticized world. She offered a genuine perspective on parenthood to her role as a single mother raising two sons. Billingsley took a break from acting after Leave It to Beaver, but she returned triumphantly in unexpected comedic roles in films like Airplane, where she played a jive-speaking passenger. Her versatility was demonstrated by her ability to go from sitcom mom to comedy icon. Her timeless charm and wit guaranteed Billingsley's status as a cherished character in Hollywood history. Tony Dow's life after Wally Cleaver. Best remembered for his portrayal of Wally Cleaver, Tony Dow had an interesting career following his time on Leave It to Beaver. While many child stars found it difficult to reinvent themselves, Dow pursued new artistic endeavors and became a well-known sculptor. His pieces, frequently made of bronze and wood, were praised by critics and exhibited in famous museums like Paris's Louvre. Additionally, Dow dabbled in directing episodes of well-known shows including Star Trek Deep Space Nine and Babylon 5. As a fervent supporter of mental health, Dow openly discussed his struggles with depression, dispelling myths and motivating a vast following. His candor struck a deep chord and demonstrated his bravery off-screen. Despite celebrity demands, Dow's capacity to reimagine himself as an artist and activist ensured that his legacy lived on as more than just Wally Cleaver. Unexpected show origins. Leave It to Beaver was a show about perseverance and imagination. Using their own experiences as parents, producers Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher transformed ordinary situations into hilarious treasures. CBS first rejected the first pilot, It's a Small World, almost ending the show before it started. However, ABC took a chance on the show after seeing potential in its relatable family relationships. The series has a new and genuine tone since its creators could approach the narrative innovatively due to their lack of formal training in children's television. These modest beginnings gave rise to the Cleaver's World, a beloved mainstay of American culture and a phenomenon that revolutionized family comedy. Authentic childhood moments. A significant factor in Leave It to Beaver's success was how authentically it depicted childhood. To create tales that seemed incredibly relatable, the show's writers frequently used true stories from their children's lives. The episodes encapsulated the innocence, anxieties, and delights of growing up, from Beaver's botched science experiment to his attempts to avoid schoolyard pranks. In contrast to other sitcoms of the time, the program prioritized children's viewpoints, serving as a mirror for its younger audience. In addition to striking a chord with 1950s families, its realism still arouses nostalgia today. Using comedy and warmth to depict human experiences, Leave It to Beaver established a lasting bond with his viewers. Eddie's lasting influence. One of television's most recognizable characters, Eddie Haskell, has indisputably impacted popular culture. Eddie, well known for his cunning charm, was the ideal balance of flattery and mischief, qualities that influenced later characters like Eric Cartman and Bart Simpson. His actions even gave rise to the phrase Eddie Haskell syndrome, which describes people who are incredibly polite but have hidden agendas. Few characters can be both hateful and lovable, but Ken Osmond's subtle portrayal of Eddie accomplished this. In addition to his legacy on television, Eddie's antics served as a model for multi-layered, complex sitcom characters. Viewers still regard Eddie Haskell as a model for creating endearing, supporting characters decades later. Why kids loved it. Focusing its stories on Beaver's exploits, Leave It to Beaver won over the hearts of young viewers. This series provided children a voice by highlighting their curiosity, errors, and development, in contrast to previous programs that marginalized their viewpoints. Kids saw their experiences mirrored on screen, whether Wally's adolescent adventures or Beaver's comical miscommunications. The show addressed widely applicable topics like friendship, honesty, and conquering anxieties. Parents also well received its lessons in clean comedy, making it appealing to various age groups. Putting kids at the center of its stories made Leave It to Beaver a unique treasure that appealed to viewers of all ages. Controversial topics addressed. Despite being perceived as a humorous family sitcom, Leave It to Beaver didn't hesitate to tackle complex subjects. Subtle yet powerful episodes address subjects rarely covered on television in the 1950s, such as bullying, dishonesty, and divorce. Beaver, for example, was shown in one episode learning the value of taking responsibility, while in another, the demands of conformity were gently discussed. The program ensured its lessons were relatable to audiences of all ages by wrapping them in warmth and comedy. It stood out from its peers due to its readiness to tackle practical issues, demonstrating that family entertainment could be fun and significant. Wally's teenage wisdom. In addition to being a typical elder brother, Wally Cleaver served as the show's sane voice. Beaver frequently found himself in difficult situations, but Wally provided advice that helped him reconcile his young mischievousness with mature reason. Wally's combination of comedy and wisdom struck a chord with viewers, whether he was counseling Beaver on school or resolving his relationship issues. Tony Dow's innate charisma and realistic portrayal of Wally won him a loyal following and made him an inspirational figure for teenagers. By striking a balance between his responsibilities as a mentor and his maturing issues, Wally's portrayal emphasized the value of brother bonds. Show's cultural impact. Leave It to Beaver made a lasting impression on popular culture by defining the ideal American family. The suburban lifestyle of the Cleavers provided a reassuring picture of community, integrity, and family values, symbolizing post-war hope. The show's impact went beyond the screen, influencing parenting styles, fashion trends, and architecture with its charming suburban house. The show's continued importance is demonstrated by the fact that, decades later, references to it can still be found in novels, films, and even political speeches. As a cultural icon, Leave It to Beaver continues to evoke fond memories of a more carefree era, highlighting its enduring appeal to all ages. Spin-offs and revivals. Leave It to Beaver's timeless appeal inspired several spin-offs and revivals, each uniquely adding to the Cleaver legacy. The original ensemble was reunited in the 1983 television film Still the Beaver, which showed the Cleaver children as adults adjusting to adulthood. The new Leave It to Beaver, a follow-up series from 1984 to 1989, resulted from its popularity. This follow-up introduced Beaver's kids and their experiences while delving into the intricacies of the Cleaver family in a contemporary context. These spin-offs showed how timeless the Cleaver principles are, even though they didn't become as legendary as the original. The show's touching messages were still relevant decades later, as seen by the fans' admiration for the family's adaptation to changing times. The Cleaver's status in pop cultural history was cemented by these revivals, making it possible for younger generations to relate to them. Ward's real-life struggles. The character of Ward Cleaver, played by Hugh Beaumont, was influenced by his real-life struggles. His son died in a terrible vehicle accident in 1951, leaving Beaumont in a state of deep sorrow. He kept performing despite his heartbreak, directing his feelings into his part as the sage and stable head of the household. His portrayal gained depth from his struggles, which made Ward's guidance seem sincere. As a Methodist clergyman off-screen, Beaumont frequently used his position to share inspirational and resolute teachings. Fans praised his ability to calmly navigate personal sorrow while projecting a serene sense of knowledge on screen. His reputation in Hollywood resulted from his twin roles as an actor and pastor, demonstrating his character strength. Beaver's real-life fame. As Beaver Cleaver, Jerry Mathers became a representation of innocence in youth, but his celebrity came with a price. Fans and the media always focused on Mathers since he was one of the first TV kid stars. Because they thought he shared Beaver's wisdom, strangers would come to him for assistance or to confide in him about their issues. Although this admiration was pleasant, Mathers felt much pressure to maintain a clean image. Despite these difficulties, he made a graceful transition into adulthood and avoided many child stars' mistakes. Following the show's conclusion, Mathers juggled his acting career with his studies and military service, eventually rising to diabetes awareness spokesperson. His reputation as a cherished TV icon was cemented by his ability to handle celebrity with poise. Barbara Billingsley's iconic role. June Cleaver, played by Barbara Billingsley, was the perfect example of a 1950s mother. She was more than just aprons and pearls. Billingsley's portrayal of June's caring power was authentic because she was a single mother raising two sons off-screen. June was frequently criticized for being too ideal, but Billingsley defended her as a symbol of compassion and respect, which she felt were universal. Fascinatingly, June's trademark pearls weren't merely for show. Billingsley chose them to cover up a surgical scar. With a humorous appearance in Airplane, Billingsley experienced a career comeback in the 1980s after leaving Leave It to Beaver and demonstrating her adaptability. Beyond the screen, her impact shaped generations' perception of motherhood and family values. Ward's fatherly wisdom. Hugh Beaumont's touching portrayal of Ward Cleaver made him the stereotypical TV father. His performance made Ward a confidant and a disciplinarian by balancing authority and approachability. In every episode, Ward helps Beaver and Wally learn valuable lessons about life, such as responsibility, honesty, and standing up for what's right. His sage counsel frequently brought the boys' misadventures to a close while imparting knowledge that viewers found compelling. Ward's empathy distinguished him from other TV fathers of the time. He discussed his kids' issues honestly. The persona was enhanced by Beaumont's genuineness and warmth, which made Ward an inspiration to fathers everywhere. Despite several decades, Ward Cleaver is still regarded as the ideal father figure on television. Filming difficulties. Despite its flawless on-screen appearance, Leave It to Beaver was problematic. Jerry Mathers and Tony Dow, both child performers, had to juggle their rigorous filming schedules with their studies, frequently doing assignments in between shoots. Another challenge was the 1950s stringent censorship laws, which mandated that scripts steer clear of subjects considered improper. For example, the writers had to devise inventive ways to get around the initial controversy surrounding mentioning a toilet tank. The show's meticulous attention further increased the pressure on detail since sets and props had to fit the ideal suburbia look precisely. The cast and crew put forth a lot of effort to keep the show up to par despite these challenges, and as a result, it gained a reputation for excellence. Leave It to Beaver became one of the most cherished family sitcoms ever, proving that the effort was worthwhile. Casting the Cleavers. The meticulous casting of the Cleavers greatly influenced the show's popularity. Jerry Mathers, who famously won the part by confessing to producers during his audition that he would prefer to be at his Cub Scouts meeting, was selected as Beaver because of his inherent sweetness and innocence. Wally was portrayed by Tony Dow, a new actor with experience in sports, which gave his portrayal of the all-American older brother more realism. June and Ward Cleaver, Barbara Billingsley and Hugh Beaumont, respectively, grounded the family in a feeling of relatability and reality by bringing warmth and refinement to the roles. Many viewers thought the cast members were a real family because of their sincere chemistry. With this ensemble, the producers struck gold because of their ability to work together to make Leave It to Beaver encapsulate American suburban life, making every character seem genuine and adored by viewers of all ages. Eddie Haskell's duality. One of the most recognizable and multifaceted characters on television is Eddie Haskell. Eddie appeared to be the ultimate troublemaker, guiding Wally into numerous dubious activities and quietly undermining those in positions of authority. However, much of the show's humor came from his inflated, inauthentic friendliness toward grown-ups. This contradiction was expertly managed by Eddie's performer, Ken Osmond, who made Eddie a representation of teenage mischief and a comic counterpoint. Osmond later disclosed that his youthful mischievous behavior influenced Eddie's exaggerated demeanor. Eddie appealed to fans because, despite his flaws, he embodied a defiant but need for acceptance aspect of puberty that everyone could identify with. Eddie's persona had such a profound effect that his name became a cultural abbreviation for a person with a duplicitous nature. To keep the show fresh and appealing throughout the years, his antics twisted it by ensuring it wasn't all sunshine and idyllic suburban bliss. Real-life friendships. The Leave It to Beaver's cast's friendship went well beyond the screen, giving the show's family dynamic more realism. A lifelong friendship was formed between Tony Dow, Wally, and Jerry Mathers, Beaver, who frequently spent time together between takes, reflecting their sibling relationship on screen. Their performances, which captured the subtleties of brotherly love, rivalry, and support, reflected their sincere bond. Known as the den mother of the ensemble, Barbara Billingsley nurtured a supportive and loving environment on set by offering advice and encouragement to her younger co-stars. Ever the professional, Hugh Beaumont solidified his position as a mentor on and off screen by frequently offering the younger actors fatherly counsel and assistance with their lives. Behind the scenes, these close bonds fostered a sense of family, which made the Cleavers' dynamic seem genuine and organic. The cast's lasting friendships are evidence of the special connection made while the show was produced. Breaking stereotypes. Leave It to Beaver occasionally defied preconceptions in subtle but significant ways while being frequently seen as a portrayal of traditional 1950s family life. Barbara Billingsley's character, June Cleaver, was more than just a devoted housewife. She was often the emotional pillar of the family, resolving disputes with poise and insight that went beyond the conventional stay-at-home mom role. In contrast, Hugh Beaumont's portrayal of Ward Cleaver bucked the aloof, stoic father stereotype by displaying comedy and vulnerability. He distinguished himself from other father figures of the era with his considerate counsel and mild punishment. Wally and Beaver, the kids, were also shown to have depth, dealing with moral quandaries that weren't always quickly resolved. Viewers connected with the show's realistic and relatable feel because of these multi-layered characters. Leave It to Beaver challenged inflexible stereotypes and presented a more complex depiction of family life, which made it classic and enduring. Timeless themes. The timeless themes of Leave It to Beaver are why it's remained a classic. Fundamentally, the program emphasized the universal values of family, honesty, and kindness. Moral lessons such as accepting responsibility for one's conduct or realizing the repercussions of dishonesty were frequently the focus of episodes. The Cleaver family's experiences were told in a way that felt accessible and never preachy, enabling viewers to recognize parallels with their lives. In today's fast-paced, technologically advanced world, these shows' focus on integrity and human connections provides a welcome counterpoint. Audiences are reminded of a time when morals and relationships were paramount in the world of the Cleavers. Because of its enduring appeal, these shows become popular with its initial audience and new generations who've come across it through repeats. Leave It to Beaver will always be relevant and adored because of its capacity to humorously and warmly tackle the difficulties of growing up and family life. Impact on child actors. Growing up in the public eye brought opportunities and difficulties for Tony Dow and Jerry Mathers. Being one of the earliest child stars on television, Mathers had to deal with stardom early on, since viewers frequently expected him to be as wise and innocent as his character on film. Similarly, Dow had to manage the demands of public scrutiny while juggling his acting career with his love of sports and eventually the arts. Both performers have been open about the difficulties of being a child celebrity, such as maintaining normalcy in the face of Hollywood expectations. Because of the encouraging atmosphere on set, they could keep their grounded personalities despite these demands. They were resilient in their post-show careers, with Dow becoming known as a sculptor and Mathers pursuing commercial endeavors. By providing insightful lessons about the value of balance, flexibility, and remaining true to oneself, their experiences illuminated the realities of being a child actor during the heyday of television. Censorship and limitations. The stringent censorship regulations of the 1950s television presented Leave It to Beaver with its share of challenges. The writers were forced to use their imaginations when crafting their stories because subjects considered too provocative or contentious were prohibited. For example, the toilet was frequently left out of scenes featuring the Cleaver's bathroom since, at the time, it was deemed improper to depict one. Notwithstanding these limitations, the program could subtly and thoughtfully address bullying and peer pressure. The writers' inventiveness was demonstrated by their ability to work around these restrictions without compromising the program's credibility. These limitations also added to the show's appeal because it didn't rely on shock value, but rather on witty banter and realistic situations. By staying within these parameters, Leave It to Beaver addressed topics that people found compelling, while preserving its image as a harmless show. The show's lasting impact was made possible by striking a balance between innovation and compliance, demonstrating that meaningful stories could be delivered in a way that was appropriate for a family. The legacy of the show. More than merely a beloved classic, Leave It to Beaver is a cultural icon that helped define the family sitcom genre. Despite being idealized, its depiction of 1950s suburban life struck a chord with viewers looking for familiarity and comfort. The program established a standard for storytelling, emphasizing realistic scenarios and timeless moral messages. Beyond its television legacy, Leave It to Beaver has become a part of American pop culture, referenced and parodied in films, television series, and books. Its impact can be seen in the other family-centered sitcoms that followed, such as The Brady Bunch and Full House. Reruns and streaming services continue introducing new generations to the Cleaver family's exploits, demonstrating the show's ongoing appeal. Fans recall it not only as amusement, but also as a representation of timeless principles and values. Its founder's ability to humorously and authentically depict the essence of family life is demonstrated by its legacy. If you've watched the video till here, that means you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Don't forget to turn on the notifications bell icon